C, Bongoto, Salamo Kwanza abduction is done by the government. This same government we voted for is the one abducting and killing us. One term again. Haya basi, Samuel Abdi anasema hai, hii government ndio inajua. Njoni Mombasa pia wasiseme only Nairobi ndio wanatoa maoni. Abdi, taongea na CEO, I promise. Sawa? Aha, Mukoya Ayua Kibra anasema abductions zinafanya, okay, we lost that. Okay, abductions zinafanywa na State House Kenya. State House Kenya means the president. Okay, Masi anasema abduction is unconstitutional and against the rights of any Kenyan. One shall be arrested lawfully and arraigned in court in following due process and in due time. Gen Z Manifesto ina inject vizuri, big up Manze. Thank you so much. And we have lawyers who are going to tell us about the law. Okay? Lawrence anasema, is Lawrence from Nyandarua? Passenger. Okay, we lost it? Okay. Lawrence, a minute. All right. President should come out clear to show alikuwa amewafungia wapi na amewabakisha wangapi. For sure his government is abducting the citizen who voted for them. That's Lawrence from Nyandarua. And we want to hear sasa kwa watu hapa kwa studio. Let me start with you, sir. Lotus. You have a very unique name, Mr. Lotus. I understand you went through abduction yourself.
Yes.
Ndio watu wajue hizi si stories za jaba. There are people who actually went through this.
Yes.
Could you kindly tell us your experience? Kwa ufupi ama kwa urefu, however you want it. What happened? What is your experience with the abductors?
Okay, first and foremost, Lotus Protas Aboga, and a young aspirant. Now, I am aspiring to represent my people because of what I went through. That was on 20th July last year. And what I can tell you that Kenya, as at the moment, the difference between Kenya and hell is location, if at all hell exists. Because it's a situation where, though I wasn't a big wig by that time, but I think having attended some spaces, having been active in the spaces of Joe, I don't know if it's it Kibe and the Kibet Bull. And I promise that I will even ferry my people from Budalangi, those ones that I can, to come to Nairobi and do demonstrations because the country is in total shock, economic shock. So I think those comments resulted to being hunted down, up and down. And for me, I believe that abduction is being done in using some sort of technology, and they really tracked me down. And I was approached by 2 police officers who were, I don't know if it's police officers or any other unique squad, but they were wearing, a civilian. So I remember having gone through such an ordeal while in UN, and I didn't resist as much because they just approached me and told me to remove my ID. So after getting my ID, they told me to escort them. That is how they ferried me, and had the questions about who is funding, who is, where is this group coming from, and who is behind. And actually, for me, I knew that even if it is T-shirts, Gen Zs were just giving out T-shirts themselves. They were promoting the protesters. So I had no meaningful information, though they dragged me for about 6 hours in Comunicado, and actually they wrote me at around Muthaiga. So by that time I was coming to the office in the morning. So I came back to the office, all that it was such a hoax. And actually, I don't believe it was done by an ordinary police.
Right. And did they harm you in any way? Physically?
Not really. They just force you to talk. Like literally, they try to threaten you. They want to hit you, But of course, you are not seeing them. They cover you with some black sheet. So they don't want you to recognize them very much. So they just threaten you with questions. They want to know much. And actually, the only thing I went to maybe a loss was that trauma, and because this is a situation where I had not gone through that. Then my phone was also, they confiscated my phone at the very first point. And actually, because of that violent confiscation of my phone, it dropped and cracked on the screen. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your bravery to tell your story. We're going to come back to you in a minute. Ademba Alans, meskia story, si story ya Jaba. And you of all people know that easy vitu si stories ya Jaba. You saw death with your eyes. We are talking abductions, but you saw death. So when you hear the president say, watu walirudishwa home, na watarudia tena, what comes to mind when you hear the president say such a statement?
You know, before I came for this interview, the first thing that I did was call my mom, nikamwambia nitakuwa K24 saa 1:30. Asiponiona ajue nimekuwa abducted. You see? Because again, I've been in the forefront championing for the rights of these people. Two of the people who have been abducted are good friends of mine, and I can tell the ordeal that they went through. In as much as they are not in a position to say it because of the threat that they received, but you can tell the same person that was abducted is not the same person that came back. And me, I witnessed death of Gen Zs firsthand. I saw it. I saw people who died. I saw, can I name drop them? I saw David Chege. I saw Eric Sheni. I saw David Mutisia. And many more, because I also help ferry those who are injured, but hopefully, by good luck, they survived. So, I'm here as a journalist to ask the government. You said that these people were abducted, but they were returned home safely. So, nikitoka home nikikuja hapa, I'm from somewhere, right?
Right.
And I have an actual location of where I was. And there are some people responsible for me being there, right? Telling us that these people were returned safely, meaning they were somewhere, there were people in charge of them being there. So who are hosting them for that 2 weeks? You see, these people were held there incommunicado. These people were beaten up. Because I've managed to get an affidavit of one of the people who abducted, actually online, so anybody can get it. And if you see what is written there, is actual torture, actual trauma. These people walikuwa nachapwa na electric cables, you see? These people they were kept in dark rooms for 14 days. And it was actually 14 days. And that took me to the street to champion for the right of them. And unfortunately, when I was championing for the right of young Kenyans who are going to vote in 2027, I was arrested again, spent the night, Central Police Station, together with the likes of Akinokio Mtata and 23 more. So I'm just asking the government, who is abducting Kenyans and who is in charge of protecting Kenyans? Because it, again, is the government that have our details. If you see the case of somebody like, is it Kibet Bull, who was abducted just immediately after visiting Okiya Mtata office? You see the news, you are told that this car was surveilling this person, meaning there's somebody in charge of this car. You see, there are number plates, because in Kenya, gari hezi tembea bila number plates. And for somebody to track you using those things, there must be people in the government, or there must be higher power. So if the government is saying that they did not abduct these people, then who abducted these people?
Thank you so much, Alans. And before I just take the mic from you, quickly, in a few lines here, why are you still being vocal about all of this, given all that you have gone through? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going is the hope that we'll have a better Kenya in the future. You see, because yet again, we are the future.
Yes.
And right now, we are doing civic education and political education to the younger people. 15 million Kenyans are the younger people. These are people that are going to vote in 2027. So if you can sensitize these people to take votes, to register as voters, to vie for elective positions, then means that we are going to create the change that we want. And that is what is keeping me going, because yet again, I am a young person, and sooner or later, I will love my family. I will love my family to grow in a better Kenya. And that is what I'm standing for. That is what is giving me motivation.
Thank you so much, Alan. Linda, what are people saying
Wow,
on your
quite
side
a
over
story
there?
right there. And
Yes.
you know, he's just name drops. And I was just engaging him a while ago, and he mentioned that I have a list of friends who are still out there with the possibility of them being abducted. Would you tell us about that, and why do you feel like they were abducted, and what are your thoughts around this conversation?
Oh, my thoughts about this conversation is that at first the regime saying they don't know who is abducting people, then they are putting us in fear. Is that you live in a country where someone is abducted and nobody can get a clue who did so. The government said, the national government especially, they don't know who is abducting people. So that was back last year. At the end of August, the regime also, I'll not mention the names, the regime also said that they have no any single name or any single reported case of someone being abducted. So they meant that nobody was abducted, nowhere. And then January this year, they said, we will investigate the matter. Later, last Monday, they said, oh, the people who were abducted, they have been released. Like, I would wish to know, maybe from other people, from my friends here, from January this year up to now, May, who was released. And the people that they are saying that they are being released, I haven't seen anyone. I have friends of mine who are still held in those communicados. I don't know where they are. And if I'm allowed, I have their names here. And the president last year said at the end of August that if I get the names of those who are abducted, I'll work on them. So,
have you tried like giving out these names because they're actually missing?
oh, where do I give them? I cannot go to report into a police station where I saw during Mandamano police beating me with a tear gas on my head, beating others, brutal, like arresting people. Like that was not even arrest. It was like snatching people from the streets. So I can never go to do that because they will not even listen to you. They
There's
say-
also mistrust.
Yeah, sure, there is also mistrust.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's also give the next person seated to you as well. Kindly introduce yourself and what are your thoughts in regards to this conversation today?
Thank you so much, Miss Linda. My name is Ngugi Ndegwa. And first of all, I will start by saying that I feel really sorry for all the young people who, some here and some who are not here, who have said that they have gone through this ordeal of being in places that they are not aware of, or places where they cannot tell where they are, because that is traumatic in itself. And again, sorry for our generation and also the generation that is after us, the Gen Zs, because I'm a millennial, because we come at a time where we have to experience a government that is clueless. Because I say that because, this is clueless and intentionally so, because if we were to start from looking at cases that we have seen in the recent times, and one of them being, for example, the murder of Kasipul's member of parliament, and in a record or within a record 2 weeks time since the murder of the honorable member, we have seen arrests that have been made. We have seen names that have been mentioned, and these people have also been produced by the state in courts for mentioning in a record 2 weeks. But we are now clocking to 1 year since these people, young people, started being abducted, and we are yet to see names of abductors of these people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
We leave it at the question
Yes.
mark. We'll come back to you.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
give it to this beautiful lady seated right here. What are your thoughts about this conversation as well? Have you ever been in this experience whereby you were in a position where you thought you were going to be abducted? Have you been abducted before? What's your story?
Linda, thank you for this opportunity. This is my first engagement as the National Youth Leader of DCP Kenya. I would like just to thank my party leader, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, for giving an opportunity to a local grassroots leader to lead at the national platform. And this is to say that my party leader sees each and every young person in Kenya, and that's why we have this home. I would want to ask ourselves this question. Who has the intelligence to abduct? Who has the infrastructure, the capacity to abduct Kenyans? And we've seen it's not random, it's a pattern. It's a child of a cabinet secretary who refused to do something. It's as a meme creator, a caricature creator. It's a person or a young person who's expressing dissent of this government. And if we go by what independent bodies that are in this country saying, what are they saying? Ministry of Interior denies. IPOA has not made any statement whatsoever regarding abductions in our country. Kenneth Siar, good thing is that it has reported, and it says it's more than 80 people who have been reported abducted. So what do I think and what I see? This is not it's not a security crisis, but it's a governance crisis. It's an oversight crisis. It's a value crisis. it's an accountability crisis.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you so much. You've heard that, Ms.
Linda,
K,
I
yeah?
have heard it, and
Who
I
has
can.
the intelligence?
Thank you. And I can feel the energy in the studio.
Yeah.
It's very somber because these are not just statistics. When we say more than 80,
Yeah.
they're not just statistics, these are actual people.
Human beings.
You know. And speaking of statistics, Mr. Kagina, take it over.
Looking at the most recent report on the state of community policing in Kenya by the National Crime and Research Center, it says that at least 43% of Kenyans do not perceive their communities as safe. And that is the reason we are here today, because we've found a hand in the cookie jar and we are seeking to identify whose hand is this. When we were young, we were told stories of ukiwasha moto, moshi inafuata yule alijisaidia barabarani. So in this case, tunawasha moto, tuone kwenye moshi itaenda. Joining me in studio is one gentleman who on 9th October about 3:30 p.m. when he was going about his business in Ruaka, an identified man took him. For 2 days, his location was still unknown, and after that, he was found. With me in studio is Livali Man. Welcome very much to K24. We are going to be getting to your story a bit. But on top of that, also on December 22nd, 2024, we had Bernard Kavuli around 6:30 in the evening going about his business in Rongai, where unidentified men also picked him. It is after people went to court and orders were issued that the police should produce him that later they were released. And with me in studio is his lawyer, Shadrack Wamboi.
Thank you.
Probably to start with, Laval, your experience. Do you know who abducted you?
That's a trick question, but I would say for sure I have an idea who abducted me. But I cannot authoritatively say so because they were not identifying themselves and they were covered. And the whole time I was taken away, I was put in a room that was dark. And even my returning back, I was unconscious when I was returned back. So I didn't get an opportunity to see them or to identify who they were. But definitely basing on the type of questions that they directed towards me, I would simply say these were government operatives. These were state agents.
What makes you say so?
The line of questioning, and this is about who is funding you? Why do you want to overthrow the government? And who else are you working with? I doubt if my friend who I've just maybe have a conflict with or have a disagreement with will send people to ask me such kind of questions. And in line with what I've been doing as a mobilizer, I've been organizing the young people towards taking political power. And I know it was the height of that I was taken away. And I'm very sure the state agents were involved, whether it is by impliedly or directly, it is state agents.
And when the government stands and says they are not aware of who was doing that, do you believe them?
I want to say that, Mr. President, you stand before the nation and you tell the nation that those who were abducted have been returned to their families. To you, it was a clean statement, and you felt maybe it was a justified statement. But to us, we saw a confession to crime, a confession to terror. That isn't leadership, because where are the names of those who abducted these fellas? Where are the charges in court for those who committed this crime? Where are the officers who participated in the arrest and abduction? Actually, it wasn't an arrest, in the abduction of young Kenyans. Where are they? And to him, perhaps he thinks abducting people and returning them to their families erases the crime that was committed. We are not stupid, and we will not be grateful for releasing us from the cages and forget those who put us in those cages in the first place.
All right. And even as you keep mentioning and referring to the government, we have Shadrack Wamboi here.
Yes.
And in the case seeking to know the whereabouts of Bernard Kavuli, mentioned was the Inspector General of Police.
Yes.
What led you to pointing your smoking gun in that direction?
Thank you. Let me first begin by sending my salutations to the viewers and the listeners back at home. And on the same vein, just send my sympathies to my brother here and my other brother seated on that other side who experienced this ordeal. On my part, or to my end, as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and as a chairperson of Sheria Mtaani na Shadrack Wamboi, which is a public benefit organization, of course, we have had the opportunity of being at the front line. On the front line so that we can protect and promote the Bill of Rights and our fundamental freedoms in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. So the reason why we sought to join the Inspector General of Police as one of the respondents, person who is charged with the responsibility of responding to the petition that we had filed or we have filed before the Honorable Court, before my Lord Justice Bahati Mwamuye, is simple. Our constitutional structure has placed certain responsibilities on the shoulders of the Inspector General of Police. The same thing happens to every other office within the Republic of Kenya or any other individual who enjoys certain privileges because of the office that they occupy, either as a public officer or a state officer. So as a state officer, the Inspector General of Police enjoys certain privileges, and alongside enjoying certain privileges, as the superior police officer within the Republic of Kenya, he has duties that flow from the Constitution. One of the duties that he must discharge, because this is a question of a responsibility that is given to him and him being serious in discharging it, is ensuring that every Kenyan is protected. Every Kenyan, from where they sit, they must be assured of their safety.
All right, we'll be coming back to that conversation right there. But for now, allow us to take a short commercial break. Meanwhile, keep engaging us on K24 TV as well as Kameme TV on our social media platforms. Don't go far.